first Jumanji movie was released back in 1995, and it took 22 years for us to get a somewhat continuation of the story. A whole lot of time has passed. However, the franchise seems to be digging through the past, as some old friends might be returning from the original movie from back in the day, which is why I decided to take a first look into the now called Jumanji 4 movie and tell you everything I know so far. The reinvigorated Jumanji franchise managed to garner even more fans than ever before, and I couldn't be happier. Mostly because of just how fun and exciting the movies up until now have been, but also because of the child in me.
We played before and we won.
We barely survived.
You know he would do it for you.
Finally getting to see all the adventures that I witnessed during my young age in a form of a movie. Even when we take a look at the original movie from back in 1995, we can see that the essence of the franchise remained the same, with a whole lot of adventures taking place around the world of Jumanji. And the recent Jumanji The Next Level movie took things even further, with the audiences being able to witness a few special abilities each game character has, outside of the standard traits that they are known for, of course. But before I dive deeper into that and what those possibilities could mean for the upcoming fourth movie of the franchise, I want to reflect upon the latest Jumanji movie and see where it left us and how it sets up a proper sequel, one that we cannot wait to see hit theaters in the recent future. Straight out of the gates, I will say that the Jumanji The Next Level mid-credit scene sets up a proper sequel, one that will connect the recent events and characters to the original story. The two newer movies were no strangers to forging their own paths moving forward. They center exclusively on entirely different characters, with the story and the characters of the movies using the original and Chris Van Allsburg's children's books as a blueprint of sorts, giving the people behind the movies a lot of freedom and a sturdy base to go on and create a new world for all of us to enjoy. The mid-credits scene of the latest movie, however, hints towards the notion of the upcoming movie, setting up the story to take place in a much familiar location for the fans of the original. The scene depicts a heater guy that was also mentioned throughout the movie, and finally showing up at the house that belongs to the mother of Spencer Gilpin. There, the heater repairman goes down to the basement of the house and starts investigating the busted Jumanji cartridge. And despite Spencer's mom insisting for him to leave the game alone, he continues unbothered. A moment later, the scene cuts to the cafe where Spencer and his friends share dinner. However, the quiet, snowy night is interrupted by ostriches charging toward a hit of that like button just like you should if you haven't done so already. But no, in reality, they are charging toward the cafe. Creatures that, if you remember, resemble the characteristics from the original Jumanji video game. And although the recent look like two iterations of the franchise are somewhat more of the modern times, with director and writer Jake Kasdan opting to put his own spin on the Jumanji formula, mainly the transition from a board game for Jumanji to be a video game, and people to jump in a fictional world rather than the game itself to jump to the real world. The franchise managed to stay respectful of what has become before the two movies. Thus, given that recent movies have taken great care to respect the past.
The next level of the game.
We're in a game?
Yes, Grandpa Eddie, we are in a game.
I am not surprised at all to see that the next Jumanji movie will extend this respect and include its own interpretation of the Jumanji world, spilling out into reality, paying homage to the original in the best way possible, according to me. Don't you think? And with all of this in mind, expect to see the next adventure in the franchise to feature plenty of scenes where wild animals interrupt suburban life, much like what the original was back in the day. On the other hand, however, thanks to the two previous movies setting up whole new mythology, there are plenty of directions that the franchise could take in the next series, with the young adult leads finally getting to meet their video game avatars in person, with the chance of there to be enough space for roles of the grown-up versions of the children leads from the original. Bradley Pierce as adult Peter Shepherd, and Kirsten Dunst as Judy Shepherd. The possibilities are simply endless. So it will be an interesting thing to see where the upcoming fourth sequel of the franchise will take us next, and just what kind of adventure awaits the characters that we have grown fond of over the last couple of years. Speaking of characters, there is no doubt about it that the entire main cast will reprise their roles. For instance, there is not one reason why the franchise would not bring Joe Johnston into the mix, seeing how he has always been able to guarantee a box office draw worldwide in the role of Dr. Smolder Bravestone, the main hero of the story, together with a plethora of skills and abilities that he has in his arsenal, like his speed and climbing capabilities, the use of the boomerang, as well as his fearless mindset. Then there is Kevin Hart in the role of Franklin Mouse Finbar, completing the duo together with Johnson. with the two having so much synergy between the two, something we have seen over the last couple of years throughout all of their movies. Plus, a useful sidekick is always a good thing to have if you are Dr. Bravestone, as well as the wealth of knowledge a sidekick like Finbar can provide at any given moment. Jack Black will surely be back in the role of Shelley Osborne, along with his strengths in archaeology, cartography, and paleontology. And last but not least, the franchise will surely bring back Karen Gillan as Ruby Roundhouse, a force to be reckoned with, who, together with her expertise in combat, could be crucial when it comes to the smashing of the subscribe button and ringing that notification bell. However, on the more serious side of things, when the times become dire in the upcoming 4th sequel. And while I am here, I should mention that all of the cast members of the side characters group could also return, despite some of them not having that much screen time in the latest Jumanji: The Next Level sequel. I am looking at you, C-Plane McDonough. The franchise has suffered from COVID-19 delays, much like all the other projects in the filming industry, throwing every filming and production schedule off track, which is one and the only reason behind the delay of the release of Jumanji 4 movie. Another factor that could play into the bigger time gap between the last movie and the upcoming one would be the list of big names included in the franchise, which should signal that the pattern of December releases will be broken. Because, let's face it, the rumored release date of the movie and it being December 2022 is far-fetched right now. Judging by the lack of teasers and trailers regarding the movie, or even the official release date confirmation that has not come through up until now. The main thing is that the movie is happening, and it is probably the only thing you need to know right now considering the early stages of development that the movie is in right now. According to some sources, the story of the 4th Jumanji movie is probably the biggest mystery right now. And even though we do not know what the story will entail, despite the clearly set up by Jumanji: The Next Level, it is more than certain that the movie will go in a new creative direction based on its established mythos. Director Jake Kasdan has also teased that the movie could reveal who is playing the avatar of the villain of the latest movie, Jurgen in the real world, with producer Hiram Garcia promising an ambitious vision for the next installment. Some key hints towards an even bigger spectacle than you have ever seen before, which is clearly a good sign for the franchise, as well as the fans that have been eagerly waiting for a new installment of one of their favorite franchises. See you in the next video.